World, The Great Escape. I'm author CJ Peterson. My co-host over here is author Michael Scott Clifton. Down below, we have author C.W. Hawes. We're talking about sci-fi today. Before we get there, Mike, how is it in your author world this month and heading into the next few?
Well, I'm excited. I'm about finished with my latest book, and I'm good for about a book a year. I've got a really great critique group. And so we sort of slog through it as with each other's stuff. So it's kind of a pace I'm used to. So, but I'm really excited about it. It's a pretty good book. The title of it's going to be The New Year's Man, and it's going to be kind of very very similar to Pringle Prawn. It involves fairies and things. So and I'm really excited about getting the wrap done on that and moving on to the next book, which all authors, we're all like that. It's like you take a deep breath when you finally finish. Of course, then you have to get a book cover, you have to get it formatted, you have to get it, published, etc. But it's just getting the last word done is always one of those moments, you kind of cherish. So I'm looking forward to that. We're going to be on vacation next week. So Myrtle Beach, South Carolina. My brother and sister-in-law live down there. So we're looking forward to having some, family time and relaxation, getting away from the hot, humid East Texas to go to the hot, humid, but beachy Myrtle Beach area. Of course, have the Mississippi Comic-Con coming up. It's one that we've been to, it's been like last 6-7 years in a row. That's in Jackson, Mississippi. And that's going to be in June 26th, 27th, 28th. It's a 3-day con. And of course, you'll talk about this a little bit more. CJ, the East Texas Comic-Con is going to be in July. And then real busy August with Bell County Comic-Con. There's a author fest that'll be going on at the Walworth Library in Greenville, Texas. I haven't been to that one in several years, but I wanted to get back because I like being able to rub shoulders with other authors that that write all different kinds of genres. A good time and a good place to make connections with people like that. And then, of course, again with which you'll mention, CJ, the Piney Woods Comic-Con, which will be at the end of August. And then September, I've got other Comic-Cons and things as well. But looking forward to all that. Like I said, I'm really excited about finally getting toward the last 5 or 10% of the book, my book, The New Year's Man, and being finished.
Nice. Awesome. Well, I am working on one that is a collaboration of multiple authors called The Alathians. I don't know if you remember me talking about it last year, where I was teaching a group of young authors at a writers' conference. Mm-hmm. Well, we got together with them, and it's an anthology where each person writes a chapter. And so book 1 is almost done. That's a fantasy, and it has to do with dragons. That one is almost done. I'm hoping to publish the first book for that one in August, and the proceeds to that go to help a scholarship for the Christian Writers Conference that I taught at. So hopefully that book 1 will be done soon. The trilogy I'm working on, which has the co-hostesses from Magic Making Mischief are in it, that one is hopefully almost done. I hope to publish that starting next year. So that's almost done. And mine do step backwards. My covers are already done for all of those. So you know me, I do those first, and I get kind of inspiration from those. But we have Kimo Kawaii this weekend, where I will be selling my books and covering it for Magic Making Mischief. And yes, I finally got my outfit. So we will be doing, Super Heavy and I will be doing our Star Wars cosplays, debuting those this weekend. We'll be there for Saturday only. That will be at the Lone Star Convention Center in Conroe, Texas. So we'll be debuting our Star Wars cosplays. Super excited. I will have my purple lightsaber. He will have his blue one. Those are the choices that we chose for our lightsaber colors. And if you look those up, you will understand why we chose those colors. We will be there for June 6th only. This starts my birthday month, so everything's super excited. So my birthday month celebration. Yes, I do celebrate all month long. So I'll be seeing some friends in June. I'll be seeing my brother and sister-in-law starting tomorrow night. I'll be celebrating with some friends on Friday night. Like I said, I'll be celebrating with lots of people on Saturday, creating all sorts of mischief around Kimo Kawaii. So super fun for that.
Wow.
And then I'm going to be promoting this because I happen to love it. Stargate SG-1 is one of my favorite fan things to watch. And I don't know if you can see them. Let's see if I can do this right this way. Move my head the right way. Move my finger the right way. Right here is a picture of Corin Nemec that is autographed. And he will be on Magic Making Mischief next Tuesday night at 7 o'clock, which is our other podcast. And I am so excited. So if you happen to watch it, it will be at 7 p.m. Central Time. And then we'll be on my YouTube channel. So check that out. I am so excited for that. You have no idea. I am ready to burst. So many sci-fi geeks, come watch it. Again, he is right there, right next to Michael Shanks. And also Richard Dean Anderson is right there. Christopher Judge is right there. Amanda Tapping is right there. So yes, have all the Stargate people right there. But Corin Nemec is right there, and he will be on next Tuesday night at 7 p.m. Central Time. Magic Making Mischief, and I'm ready to burst. Makes my birthday month celebration so exciting. So yes, ready for that. But yes, Kimo Kawaii on Saturday. I will be selling books there and covering it for Magic Making Mischief and debuting our Star Wars cosplays. Super excited for that.
It's a tough job, but somebody has to do it, right?
I mean, yeah. So, creating mischief everywhere. That's our job.
Hey, can I do a quick pitch for the Northeast Texas Writers Organization? I should have done that earlier.
Hold on, let me finish. We have East Texas Comic-Con, which will be...
Oh, that's right. That's right. Yeah.
You missed that one. Which will be July 18th and 19th in Longview, Texas. I will be running the floor for that. Mike will be there for that one. And yes, he did miss that one. He'll be there for that. And then on August 29th and 30th, mark your calendars for Piney Woods Comic-Con in Lufkin, Texas. And then in Victoria, Texas, it's already been announced, we will be doing on the 19th and 20th is Victoria Fan Fest in Victoria, Texas. That's already been announced as well, so I'm allowed to announce that one. Mark your calendars on the 19th and 20th in Victoria, Texas for Victoria Fan Fest. I'll be running the floor on that one as well. So as more pop up, I will be happy to announce those. You can mark your calendars for those as well. Go for it, Mike.
Well, I was just going to say the East Texas Comic Con, which is in Longview, is super. It's a super great Comic Con. Done it last 2 years in a row, maybe or is it 3? But it's a great opportunity if you live in East Texas. Haven't been. This will be our first year to be at the Piney Woods Comic Con, but really looking forward to that. And that's in Lufkin, which is kind of. Maybe
all I gotta say, it's run very well. I mean,
I hear they have good help.
I'm just telling you, it's
but
run well.
I failed to mention earlier, and I know I was going to forget something. The Northeast Texas Writers Organization, or NETWO, is having their annual Spring Writers Conference, which will be this Saturday, and it will be at the Mount Pleasant Convention Center. In the past, it's been at the Northeast Texas Community College. This year, it will be at the Convention Center, the Civic Center, or Mount Pleasant, and it will be this Saturday. There's still time to register, and you can go online to the NETWO or website, Northeast Texas Writers Organization, and you can register on the website, or you can even show up in person and just register at the time. But they have a great lineup and some great speakers. CJ's actually presented at it several times. So it's a great opportunity for both experienced writers and beginning writers to learn a little bit more about the the writing trade from people who've been there and done that. So I just wanted to make a pitch for that. Again, that's this Saturday. It is June the 6th, this Saturday, June 6th, at the Mount Pleasant Civic Center.
Always something to learn. Okay, now to our star of the show. Mr. C.W. Hawes is returning guest. He has tons of books under his name. If you saw the ad, there is a lot there. And there's actually more there. There's more than what is pictured because he did not put his Magnolia book series books on there. I noticed that he did not send them to me, but there is more than what he actually has that's on there. CW, welcome. We are happy to have you.
Thank you. Thank you. Good to be back.
We're going to be talking about your sci-fi books. What makes your sci-fi books different than other sci-fi books that are out there?
Well, I don't know if they're really different. And I haven't done sci-fi for quite a while. And as a matter of fact, I haven't done a lot of sci-fi at all. But I would have to say, going back to elementary school days, the first two genres that captured my attention as a reader was science fiction and horror. And so I've always enjoyed reading good science fiction. And so consequently, now that I'm, retired and I have all the time in the world to do whatever I want, I decided I would try my hand at writing science fiction. So I spent, I don't know, about the last 10 weeks knocking out a 60,000 word first volume for a space opera. And so I'm going to try to get another couple written and then launch this thing next year.
Now your Pierce, is it Pierce Moisten?
Pierce Moston.
Your Pierce Moston ones are technically sci-fi.
Pierce Moston is kind of sci-fi.
Because I love them, and those are technically sci-fi.
It's horror and it has sci-fi.
Sci-fi,
it has lots of monsters in it too, so it can shade over into more fantasy type thing. But yeah, Pierce Moston came about. I was watching the X-Files, and all of a sudden it hit me. Well, geez, what would happen if Scully and Mulder ran into Cthulhu? And so there it was. It just happened. So I ran with that. First I checked to see if anybody else was doing something similar, and yeah, there's I can't think of the name of it offhand now, but there was somebody doing something remotely like that. But I said, my idea is different enough. I'm going to run with it. So I did. And I really like Pierce Moston. And so this new series that I hope to launch, it's going to be though more really space opera. I like a good space opera that, it's action, adventure, little romance thrown in. There's bad guys and good guys and, and spaceships blowing up and everything. Who doesn't like that? So,
Wars is a space opera.
What was that?
Technically, Star Wars is a space opera.
Yes, Star Wars is space opera. Star Trek is really kind of space opera. And, so I decided I would give it a shot. I was reading Michael Scott Earle's Star Justice series, and it's more space fantasy, really, but it is, space opera. And I decided I'd rather do something a little more hard science fiction. And you don't see a lot of hard science fiction nowadays. I think it's kind of passé almost. But I kind of like at least a hard science feel to my science fiction. And so I that takes a lot of research, and I cheated and I used Grok to to do a lot of the brainstorming on the world, because the nice thing about LLMs, I know they get a bad rap, and everybody, seems like everybody's hating on them right now, but quite honestly, if you use them correctly, I think they can be a big time saver. And I found that just engaging in a conversation with Grok and bouncing different ideas off of them, getting a reaction, countering that reaction, because they're almost like human, they make all kinds of mistakes. Right. And so when you use one, you don't take everything with a grain of salt. They actually work better if you engage them in a conversation like you're talking to a person. And then you can bring up where, well, I don't know if that's quite right. I'll go back over and say, yeah, you got a point there, and corrects itself. So, I started doing things about planets, about extrapolating how people might change in 3,000 years, because my story is set 3,000 years in the future, 51st century. And, how would people change? Well, physically, we aren't probably going to change because it's not enough time for any evolutionary development. But technologically, we may change a lot. And looking at current...
changed a lot even in 100 years.
Right. Well, yeah, you're right. And so, looking at what we're doing today and then extrapolating that out into the future, this is where I found that using Grok helped to put that trend, punch it out into the future, what people might look like. Mm-hmm. And so I found it exceedingly helpful. And I'm a pantser, so I don't usually do a lot of research on anything. I do it as I go along, but because I haven't done anything this big in this science fiction field, I decided that I needed to get some background and do some world building stuff first, and then go in and start writing. And then as I write, of course, questions are always coming up, so then I do more stuff on it. But I think the first book is kind of fun, and I like it, and so I'm gonna look, knock out another couple, and we'll see what happens and if readers like it.
So as a pantser, do you? Of course, we're both huge pantsers as well. But do you have a general idea of your story? Do you have a general idea of the characters, starting, ending, or is it a? I mean, I know you have to have a starting point somewhere. I guess what I'm asking you, just how blank is the slate once you?
Well,
blank, because some of us are a little more blank than others.
Well, one of my writing mentors is the old pulp fiction author H. Bedford Jones. He was called King of the Pulps because he produced so much, stories, so many stories. And Bedford Jones would sit down at a typewriter with a blank sheet of paper and start typing. That was it. That was his planning right there. Now, it helps when you write genre fiction because every genre sort of has a pattern that it follows. Mm-hmm. So you don't necessarily need to do a lot of thinking about storyline. You sort of have that there. But yeah, you're right. What do you do with characters and things like that? And it kind of depends. With my Justinia Wright series, I kind of had Tina and Harry, the two main characters, I kind of had them fleshed out before I started writing. With the Rocheport saga, my post-apocalyptic series, which is also kind of science fiction, because there aren't any zombies or anything in there. It deals with looking at what we would really do to survive when there's just a few people left. And that started with a single sentence. Today I killed a man and a woman. I had no idea about anything. And I just kind of thought about that sentence for a while. And then I started writing. And I was a couple pages into it. And I said, well, it's a first person narrator. I guess I better decide who this person is. So I made some notes about who this person is and then just kept writing. So it kind of depends. And, like with Pierce Moston, I kind of had the X-Files sort of in the back of my mind here. And I said, well, I guess I'll, instead of the FBI, I'll create an uber secret government agency whose purpose is to protect us from Cthulhu and all of his minions, Mm-hmm. So I did have a little bit of Moston and his partner, Dr. Dottie Kemper, in my head. And of course, I had the organization, and the head of the organization was very sketchy. Dr. Rafe Barden basically was his name, and he was a little round Englishman who smoked a pipe. And that was about it. But as the series has developed, those characters have grown, and there's a story arc for those main characters throughout. Well, it's now 9 books, because the 9th book, I hope to do the Kickstarter in July on that one. But there's a character arc, and yeah, you can pick up anyone and read it. But if you start at the beginning, then you have the advantage of seeing the characters develop as they go along. And but yeah, it just kind of depends, It with this space opera. I don't want to give the title, because many years ago, before there was Kindle and everything else, and we still had brick and mortar bookstores, an author, and I don't even remember who the author was. The author said, if you have a good title, don't tell anybody.
I agree. I'm not even giving away my title. I give away nothing until it's published.
Yeah, right. Because somebody can take that title, because you can't copyright them and publish before you. So, but with the space opera, as I said, I did a lot of world building stuff because I wanted it more hard science fiction, and I'm not a real sciencey person, quite honestly. I mean, I like reading kind of hard science fiction, but I'm not into hard science stuff. So I had to do some world building there. But when I sat down to actually write the book, I just had that blank sheet of paper in front of me and said, okay, where am I going to start this story? Okay, there's a derelict spaceship, and the main character is a salvager, and he's going to try to salvage this derelict spaceship. That's where it starts. And wow. And so it just unfolded from there.
Mine's like watching a movie in my head, and it just goes like that. Is that what?
Yeah. Well, what I kind of see it as is, it's like reading. You uncover the story every, each paragraph as you read. Well, as a writer, I'm uncovering the story with every line that I write. And sometimes I say, I don't really write these things. I'm just the amanuensis for the characters.
Like I said, mine's like this movie that's going in my head, and so I'm just.
And you're just writing it down. Yeah.
In my head is just what it's going on.
Yeah.
So do you? I know that with us Panthers, sometimes, like I said, it's nothing is set, everything's fluid. But I do find that the more I've written, the more experienced I've become as a writer, as a pantser. I find myself really starting to write stories around characters.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And the character comes to mind, who the character is, what they do, and then the story flows from that.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And before, I just had it was the exact opposite of a story, and then I'd plug the characters in.
Well, I like Bradbury's dictum. Ray Bradbury said, create your characters, let them do their thing, and there's your story.
The characters take over. I mean, they know what they're doing more than we do half the time.
Right. That's why I said I'm just the amanuensis writing down what they're telling me what to do.
I mean, you kind of have to be slightly schizophrenic. I mean,
Slightly.
We have a few minutes left. Is there anything you want to add?
Well, I just I would like to say that you can keep an eye on my X profile there, or my well, even on Facebook. I don't do a lot on Facebook, but or my website. And the best thing would be to join my mailing list, but which you can do off the website. But I'm planning a Kickstarter for right now for July. This is my very first rodeo with Kickstarter, and I've discovered that there are a heck of a lot of moving parts, and so I'm planning it for July, and so that really means by the end of June I need to actually submit to Kickstarter for approval. So I'm hoping to pull everything together for that this month. So you can, like I said, you can check on X or Facebook or the website. And
what is your website? Because I don't have your website up.
The website is very simple. It's cwhawes.com. www.cwhawes.com.
Okay, I'll go ahead and put that in the chat. So we do have your X going across the screen down there, but I went ahead and put your website in the chat so that everybody has that. And your website is now in the chat. That way everyone has that as well.
So that's the next hot thing that's on my schedule, is to try to get this Kickstarter out. The book, which is I can tell the title now because I've already announced it to my mailing list and stuff. It's The Color That Fell from Space, and it's a riff off of H.P. Lovecraft's The Color Out of Space.
Gotcha.
And Mostyn and Doug Kemper are dealing with the same alien, the kind of a first contact bad alien experience. So
very cool. Thank you for sharing, and thank you for coming and joining us today. You've been a treat.
My pleasure. Thank you for having me.
Check out CW stuff at www.cwhawes.com. You can check out his X page at CW_Hawes. In the meantime, next week we will be having a pre-recorded, we are not ignoring you, and it will be on how to identify scammers in the author world. It is already pre-recorded and ready to go. We will not really technically be seeing you next week, but it is helpful information, so make sure to check it out at 4 o'clock, same time, same place. See you guys next week. Bye.
Bye-bye.